Hi DFT exclamation point. If you were to replay a 360 game today, what do you think would be the best option between using a RetroTink 4K or an Xbox Series X, ignoring the performance advantage of the Series X? So John, I'm going to go up to you on this one, but I'm going to assume that we're factoring out here games that were X enhanced that run at 4K, because you'd probably want to run those at 4K, right? As opposed to 360 resolution. So thoughts on this one? I mean, tricky. You're basically balancing performance that will basically always reach the frame rate cap with the
scaling.
3x3 nearest neighbor scaling that you would get.
I need to check if Series X supports this because I don't really use it, but I actually think the best option would be to set your Series X to like 720p.
You can do that on a Series X.
Okay, yeah, 720p, feed that into the tank and then upscale. And for games that aren't actually higher res in Series X, and many of them are not, it should look the same. But for those that are higher res, you essentially get downsampling, right?
Yeah. So
I was actually experimenting with Blue Dragon the other day, which is still gorgeous, on the FW900 and on the Tink. And the 360 version has a ton of tearing and slowdown, like real bad at spots. We play it on Series X though, runs perfect, absolutely perfect.
Okay.
So you pump that thing either into the FW900 or through the Tink, and it just basically looks amazing. Because I agree, the way Series X upscales 360 games is not optimal. It's very blurry and like bad bilinear upscale. And
you've spoken to Microsoft about this several times.
I have. I've been trying to push them, like, guys, just give us an option to do nearest neighbor scaling, and they've not done it. And maybe they're probably not watching this, but if you are, that's a simple change to make. Just make it a toggle something. Let people do nearest neighbor scaling for these games. It would drastically improve image quality for a lot of these 360 titles, especially the ones that don't have a resolution boost. But even if they do have resolution boost, being able to nearest scale the UI in the menu would also make them look significantly better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tricky one because there's, ignoring the performance advantage of the Series X. The problem is the PS360 generation is one of the worst performing console generations out there. And, to ignore actually hitting all your frame rate caps is something that takes quite a lot of willpower, I'd say. But it sounds like you've got the optimal solution there, John, which is to say, buy two highly expensive pieces of equipment.
Yeah, just shell out $750 for the
Tink. Yeah. And another whatever it is, 500. Well, that has been on cheaper recently.
No,
Series X.
Let's be clear, that's a joke. The Tink is amazing, but if you're gonna spend that money, you should know that you want that type of device. It is for a specific audience. It is not just like.
There's going to be other options there, like the Morph 4K, which should, in theory, give you that
nearest neighbor is just fine.
Even there, though, like none of these are cheap, right? It's all hundreds of dollars, and that's just
isn't it crazy?
That's the nature of these video processors.
That if you just literally had an option in your TV to do integer scaling, this would kind of all just. You do it on the cheap.
That aspect of it, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm not talking about the rest of it, but it's just like, come on, integer scaling. It took.
I know. Panasonic used to sell an OLED that had integer scaling built in, and nobody else followed.
It's almost
a real shame.
It's always a shame too, because like system level, Microsoft could do it too. They could do it in Windows, but it requires a graphics card drive. Everyone can do these things. It's not complex.
It's the thing on PC, graphics drivers.
But even then, it's like I don't love the way it's implemented perfectly on PC always. It depends.
No, like on the NVIDIA panel, for instance, when I was hooked up to my monitor, which is actually a TV, the LG OLED, it detects that 4096 mode. Instead of 3840 by 2160, it's like 4096 by 2160. So it will only output to that res. You can't change it. And if you try to eliminate it in like at a low level, which I've done before, it breaks the whole NVIDIA control panel. It just like disappears. And then if you plug in like the Shogun or the Ninja 5 into the system and use that as the primary monitor, then it detects it as a 1080p max display. You can't even get 4K anymore. with the integer scaling. So like the integer scaling function of the NVIDIA driver should let people choose their final destination resolution, right? They don't try to automatically detect it. Let us just say, this is what I want all things to scale to.